World Dyslexia Day, and people will often say, oh my gosh, every day is a day for something. But yes, we have a day for everything so that we can shift our focus sometimes from what is the obvious. And it is good for us to delve down into some of these issues. Our children would have encountered dyslexia at some point in time and may not know too much about it because it's really not something that gets thoroughly in the way of how we operate in our day-to-day. And we may think it's so many other things. So today being Dyslexia Awareness Day, we are definitely welcoming the Dyslexia Association of Trinidad and Tobago, their chairperson, Suzanne Gregory, who will be sharing with us this morning some information about dyslexia. Suzanne tutors dyslexic children and is one of the senior lecturers. So don't think that we don't have persons who actually educate. We don't have educators specific to dyslexia or anyone with special needs at all. It is very prevalent in our country. We just need to know, and this is why we are chatting with Suzanne this morning. Good morning to you, Suzanne.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much, and welcome to Heartbeat Radio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here on behalf of the association. I'm so glad to be able to share a little bit about what I know.
Yes.
Because a lot of people that I meet don't know very much about dyslexia.
Correct.
And they have wrong ideas about it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And many times, or we have seen a lot of our world's creatives and very successful people, a lot of them have. Albert Einstein is dyslexic. Let's just use him as an example.
Yes,
He's
yes,
dyslexic, and look at how much he has accomplished in that. I actually look at it as a superpower, by the way. So tell us about what...
because it can be for some, like Richard Branson, again.
Correct.
Dyslexic, very dyslexic. And he actually left school early because of it.
Yeah.
And look at where he went.
Exactly. I remembered on my podcast a couple of years ago, I did chat with Brendan Braffett about dyslexia because he too is dyslexic and so am I. And we're saying, but look at us, we're still operating in our daily lives, doing what we do best. And it really doesn't stop you from performing, but once you take cognizance of it and you take certain actions and notice it in your children as well, it's important for us to do that. So tell us exactly, Suzanne, what is dyslexia so our audience can be in the know?
Yeah, so dyslexia, we say, is a hidden disability, but at the association, we like to say a different way of learning, not disability. Because as you've proven, and so has Brendan, who's actually one of our board members, proven that you can succeed and go very, very far with it. So it's a discrepancy between what you would expect this child to be doing. So there are children who are so bright. You can tell, this child is so bright. They're very intelligent. They're with it. They're answering the questions and so on. But then when it comes to reading, they're having a real problem. And that's when you know there's something going on there. The child may be able to tell this story, hands in the air, answer all the questions.
Yep.
Yes. And research shows it's a neurobiological condition, I could say. Research shows that the right side of the brain is more active when a dyslexic is reading, and in a typical non-dyslexic brain, the left side is engaged. So it's something that you're born with, and there is a genetic link. It runs in families.
Absolutely.
So if one of your parents is dyslexic, chances are you may be yourself. And it can go from being very mild to be very severe. And you can see that it's a language base. In the past, they called it a visual problem because a lot of people think that, okay, if you're reversing letters, you're dyslexic. Well, that might be part of something that happens, but that's not the be-all and end-all. So most children have trouble with letters, and they reverse letters
Yeah.
But once it passes the age of 7, then you know that, okay, we need to have a look at this and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
So it is a neurobiological thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that the children are not trying hard enough. Okay, if you do it harder, if you work harder, it's going to get better. Well, it's not that, because dyslexics work as hard as they can. Nobody wants to feel like they can't in school. And so they're working as hard as they can. So it's not good to be saying, okay, let's work harder. It's not going to make a difference. Well, that's not true.
I really think that when it is diagnosed or when you recognize it very early on, you know how to work with it, you know how to navigate through life with it. Because I remembered from my own experience, I think I was diagnosed at the age of 5. When they recognized in kindergarten I was writing from the right side of the page come across to the left. Perfectly writing. And so then my kindergarten teacher said, well, you know, this is a condition called dyslexia. At least she knew about it at that time and was able to alert my parents to it. So I did see the specialist and that kind of thing. So it helps. And I think even now, because I joke about it in this hour, the final hour, when I'm really hungry, I tell the listeners, you know, this is when the dyslexia comes in because I really speak back to front. And I think it's something that it's not just in writing, because even if my eyes are tired and you're reading, tell me if this has been the experience for some of your students as well. If you are reading, you will see like the words raising off of the page or getting crossed and that kind of thing, or the attention. So then the attention now becomes limited because you have that challenge before you. Even with numbers, you know, looking at a spreadsheet or something like that, you always have to really, really focus because it could get a bit jumbled at some point in time.
Absolutely, and that's a very good point. So the same point that I made earlier about working harder, when the children are in school and the teacher keeps them in at break time and says, okay, finish your work.
Yeah.
Because all their friends who have finished have gone to a break and you're there. That child is not going to be able to function. So what's the point of keeping them in a break? Don't keep them in a break because they need their break. And like you say, when you get tired, it gets even worse. Yeah. Because you just can't focus. Yeah. Absolutely.
And with the knowledge of it, you know how to manage.
That's right. So the earliest intervention is the best way, you know, the key to getting it. So with you were very fortunate. And sometimes teachers don't know and parents don't know what dyslexia is. Sometimes they don't, even teachers. And so they may say, okay, let's wait and see. Yeah. Let's wait and see. So you wait another term and nothing is done. And that's just wasting time for that poor child. They need to get the help as soon as possible so that they can learn their own strategies.
Correct.
Of what to do.
Correct. Yeah. So we're talking about teachers and parents because I mean it will rear its head or it will be most identified in learning when it comes to learning. So what can the parents and teachers do? You were saying, you know, rather than say work harder or keep the children back, or the parents say, oh, the child is slow, or I don't know what's going on. We have organizations like the Dyslexia Association. So tell us how long the Dyslexia Association has been in existence.
Since 1990.
Wow.
So, yeah. It was started by a group of parents who were concerned about their children.
Right.
And they got help. And they got, Barbara Foster came from England and she trained the parents and teachers. And after about 3 years, she said, okay, y'all go ahead. Y'all can do it yourselves. Right. And the Dyslexia Association came about and headed by Catherine Kelshaw since then. And so it's reached to where it is now, and we're doing our best to raise this awareness because it's still, even after all that time, it's amazing how many people in Trinidad don't really understand it. And dyslexia is a lot more than reading. There are many different types of difficulties that can raise their heads. And of course, each dyslexic is different.
Correct.
Some have more talents in one area and some have in another, or
yeah.
more difficulties in one than another.
Absolutely.
So you can also see things like organizational skills, forgetting things at home, not time management, not able to manage time, even
that one for
not
sure.
being able to tell time, when you had those analog clocks only.
Oh, yeah, that was a challenge for sure.
Dyslexics like digital.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to think about where that hand is.
Yeah, I remember that. As soon as the digital watches came out, I definitely campaigned for that. I was like, yeah, I need one of those. But so what work do you continue to do, and where is it really focused? Is it on the national level in terms of in schools only, or is there a specific, or do you all have programs, outreach programs, where you can have people come in if it is that they identify certain things? So should someone go to your social media page, for instance, what can they learn from what you're sharing with the public?
Well, we have quite a lot of information on our page, and we even have some webinars that have been done in the past.
Fantastic.
That are, they're there to be seen. So we have on math, we have on dyslexia, we have something called Help for Parents, creative writing, how to boost your child's attention and concentration. So there are different types of things there that you can look at. There's information about dyslexia. There's like a checklist of what you might see. And in addition to that, there's information how to get in touch with us.
Right.
And the first thing parents should do when they think something is wrong, and the parent is the child's advocate and should be.
Yep.
If that parent thinks something is wrong, they need to say to the teacher, okay, I think I see something here and I want to get help. And then they can call the Dyslexia Association and get referrals for teachers who we have trained. So this is what I'm going to come to now.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do is training teachers in methods for teaching dyslexics.
Right.
And every July we have a 3-week-long course, which is quite intense. And teachers of their own accord come to us. They sign up for it. We have teachers in primary schools, in secondary schools who come. We have the student support services teachers come to us of their own accord as well. And we train them in what to do and how to go forward with that.
Right.
And so the main focus of our association is to help the dyslexics in any way we can. We also have a bursary fund to help parents of underprivileged children to pay for tutoring, because not everyone can afford
it.
And our teachers are not. So let me clear this part up. A lot of people call thinking we have like a clinic almost, and you can come to us for teaching. It's not like that. The teachers that we train are all over Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
And so when you call the association, we ask, where do you live? What's your area? And then we look up in our files and find a teacher or teachers who are near you and recommend that to you.
Understood.
So that you can call that teacher and say, okay, well, can you do a screening? Because we train the teachers how to do a screening. And then, depending on the findings, then you can now get your help, the remedial help. Okay. So they are all privately doing their work. We don't hire anybody.
Right. Okay, I understand totally. And so it's good. It's good like that, because at least you have teachers all over the country. You provide them with the tools and the techniques that they need, and so that they're equipped with this. But you can refer persons once they reach out to you, the hub. Once they reach out to you, they now can be led to where they can go in their specific geographic location. And but that's very, very useful, because I mean, in terms of commuting for some persons as well, they would want to have someone who's close by.
Yes.
And so this month, I mean, today is the day of observance, but it's the entire month that we are commemorating dyslexia. So do you have anything special throughout the month that's happening?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we do. So the first thing is, of course, building awareness through calls like this with the
Yes.
radios
Mm-hmm.
and also on TV. We just had CNC3 this morning. One of our board members, Emma Teixeira, she was on CNC3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, we are doing a program through our teachers. So we asked our teachers if they would host or they would, so they can host, we have a video called Reading is Not a Natural Skill, and we're sending it out to the teachers. So the same way, wherever they are in their communities or schools, that they can take it and show it to their parents, the parents of their students,
Awesome.
and even other teachers, because as I say, not all teachers really know or recognize what it is.
Yes.
And that way we can build the awareness further. So we send it to them along with some handouts and brochures and little rulers that we have with our logo on it,
Right.
and our number of how to contact us.
Of course, the visibility is important. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. And then UE Spec has approached us to do, like they're choosing us as their cause this year. Every year they have a half marathon and
the 5K, yes.
And the 5K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they have approached us to raise funds and increase our awareness for us this year. So we feel very honored.
This is fantastic. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's happening on this Sunday, November 10th.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it starts early in the morning. So I encourage everybody to sign up and join.
Yeah.
And we, well, we're always trying to do something.
Yeah, but this is really, really, I mean, because we know that the UE Spec International Half Marathon and 5K is a big event. You know, that one, I mean, we have lots of 5Ks taking place for various causes. And I like the fact that they do it, they select a different a charity or a different cause every year. And so to highlight dyslexia, to place the focus on dyslexia this year is very, very commendable for that, because when you do something like that, it really does hit and this says international half marathon. So we know that we have people who fly in from the region and abroad and internationally to come and take part in this. So there will be more coverage for you, exposure in terms of getting the message across. And I'm pretty certain that it's going to, fulfill the purpose as we continue. But I want to remind our listeners that even though there's a specific day or a specific month for awareness for something, it doesn't mean that we don't take cognizance of it throughout the year. Our children are our future. And so anything that we notice is a bit different about them, try to recognize this from pretty early by closely observing your children. Because the earlier you detect it, I know that some people, even Brendan was telling us that it was identified in high school or later on in primary school, it was identified for him. And so,
That's right.
So people might recognize this later on in life, and your approach to it may be a bit of denial because it's like, nothing could be wrong with me, come on, man. That kind of thing. So the earlier you can recognize it in your children, share with other parents. Be open about what your concerns are. I mean, we live in a society, and I'm glad that these days we are coming out of that mold of keeping everything to ourselves and saying, oh gosh, I don't want to feel shame or anything like that. But when we share, we definitely encourage others to share as well, one, and two, you will learn so much in your sharing because you realize that, hey, somebody gave me advice on this because they have had the experience before. So we do encourage you to check in with the Dyslexia Association of Trinidad and Tobago. It's exactly that. You can look out for it on our Facebook. Is this the same name on Instagram? You all on Instagram?
Yeah, so we have Facebook and Instagram, we have a website. On Instagram, it's Dyslexia TT.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Google, you will find us, as I tried it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google Dyslexia Trinidad, everything will come up.
Great.
So you get the Facebook and website. And Dyslexia TT is our Instagram name.
Right, and the Facebook pages.
And the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also call or email.
Yeah.
So info@dyslexiatt.org is our email.
Yeah.
And the main number is 625-5869.
Yeah.
Or we have a WhatsApp number as well, 281-7323, which spells out read.
Right. So 281 read.
Yes.
Yeah. Very important.
And our location of the office where you can go, we have DVDs. I know a lot of people don't use DVDs anymore, but we have lots of information. There are books, audio books as well, and ways for you to even talk to your children about dyslexia, what you would say, as well as videos to show.
Right. So there's also literature out there.
Yeah.
Suzanne, before we wrap up, sadly we have to wrap up in a short while. Before we wrap up, is there a facility or an opportunity for persons who want to volunteer to join the association and give back to society?
Well, we welcome anybody to join, and there is like a very small membership fee, so it could be different levels, like $30 a year, or sustaining member or whatever is $100 a year. So you can choose if you want, and if you want to donate to us, we welcome that, because we are an NGO, which means we rely only on the money that people give us, and it is a volunteer organization. We have one permanent staff member in the office and one who comes twice a week.
Nice.
And they are our workers, I like to call them the same way that the workers were for COVID. And I mean, it's not
the frontline people.
They are the point where you call them and they give you information and put you in touch with who you need to be in touch with.
Awesome. All right. So we encourage persons to, as a first step, first you chat with you follow the pages for the Dyslexia Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Follow them on social media. You can peruse their website as well. If you have any information, you can email them at info@dyslexiatt.org. Call them 281-READ, that's the WhatsApp number, and you can contact them at the office where they have their frontline persons, 625-5869, you see? 625-5869. And of course, the cause for the URESPEC International Half Marathon and 5K that's happening on the 10th of November. Registration ends on the 4th of November. So that's coming up in just about 3 weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks. The 4th of November for the half marathon. So if it is that you take part in the 5Ks and the marathons, do this for the cause of highlighting the effects and the work that has been done already and will continue to be done for identifying and managing dyslexia. The half marathon starts at 5 a.m. and the 5K starts at 5:15 a.m. And of course, we're looking forward to the support as usual. So we want to thank you, Suzanne Gregory, chairperson at the Dyslexia Association of Trinidad and Tobago, for sharing this information with us and also for highlighting some of the behaviors, for want of a better term, that parents could identify, and for letting parents know that there are teachers all over the country. So you can contact the Dyslexia Association and they will guide you to a teacher in your area that you can really help to guide your child and get the best quality of learning possible.
Thank you so much for that.
You're most welcome.
May I just mention, there will be some airing interviews on TV as well, so look out for those.
No problem.
I just want to say, patience and give time. Those are the two most important things you can give your child.
Yes, And also, you can look up people who have been very successful with with dyslexia, and you will be amazed at some of the people. A lot of our actors as well, business people. Suzanne would have called Richard Branson's name, and you know he is like top tier. So look up some of the people.
Now there's a video
Julia Roberts as well
on Instagram with Jamie Oliver. That's really very interesting as well.
Yep. So it is something that we can live with. We just have to know it, identify it, manage it, and continue to enjoy the best quality of your life.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. We encourage you to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And thank you so much for being here.
To you.
Thank you so much. Take care now.